You know, when you find a piece of ancient writing, like I don't know, a stone tablet or a torn piece of parchment.
Right, something physical.
Yeah, exactly. The damage is usually physical, it's weathered by time, pieces literally chip off.
Hmm.
And what you're left with is this tantalizing puzzle where the gaps, like the actual missing pieces of stone, feel almost as important as the surviving words.
Oh, totally. The silence in the text speaks volumes. You're left staring at the negative space, just forced to imagine what was lost to the centuries.
Right. But when you find a corrupted digital file or a scrambled piece of data, it's a totally different feeling.
Yeah, it's not weathered.
No, it's not. It's aggressively glitched. You get these massive blocks of placeholder characters, weird symbols, just absolute noise.
Just a wall of static.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And then suddenly a perfectly legible, highly specific fragment of text cuts right through that noise.
It's so jarring when that happens.
It really is. It feels almost like a message trying to punch its way through from another dimension or something.
Well, it is a profound shift in how we experience mystery, I think. It's not the decay of information.
Right.
It's the obfuscation of it, like
Yeah.
it's being hidden on purpose. And the diagnostic muddy waters we're wading into today require us to really look past that noise to see the architecture hiding underneath.
Okay, let's unpack this because today, for you listening, we are attempting to decode three of the most cryptic, minimalist blueprints for the future of our species.
Yeah, cryptic is almost an understatement here.
I mean, seriously, the sources we are diving into are translations of three brief documents, and they're mostly filled with those repeating abstract placeholder symbols we just talked about.
Just lines and lines of digital static.
Right. But cutting through that noise are three monumental titles.
And the titles are really the key here.
Absolutely. The first is, quote, 132, The 18 Channels of Human Civilization's Leap.
Wow.
Yeah. The second is 133, The Road to the Leap of Human Civilization, version 3.0, part 1.
Okay.
And the third is, you guessed it, 134, The Road to the Leap of Human Civilization, version 3.0, part 2.
The architecture implied by those titles alone is staggering.
It really is. I mean, aside from these titles, we basically just have a few isolated numbers in the text. And
I mean, that recurring signature.
yes, a recurring, very mysterious two-character signature at the very end of each document.
Right. Despite how fragmented the internal text is, the mere structure of these documents reads like a roadmap for a total civilizational overhaul.
A complete rewrite.
Exactly. The very fact that the information is so sparse forces us to weigh every single surviving word. Every number, every structural choice has to be examined with immense care.
Well, I want to look at the mechanism of change before we even talk about the ultimate destination.
Okay, let's do it.
So the text pairs this grand, sweeping concept of a civilizational leap with a highly specific number.
Exactly 18.
Right, exactly. 18 channels or like navigational routes. Amidst all the obscured symbols in the document, the number 18 is preserved perfectly.
Just sitting there clearly in the static.
Yeah, leading right up to that distinct two-character signature.
Yeah.
And that specificity really got me thinking. I want to try an analogy here.
Go for it.
Think about building a civilization the way you would think about operating a massive mixing board in a recording studio.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
Right. So if you're an audio engineer and you want to achieve a totally new... Exactly, a true paradigm-shifting leap in the music. You can't just grab one fader and push it all the way up to the max.
Right, because if you just crank up the bass or, push the vocals into the red, you don't get a masterpiece.
No, you get distortion.
You might blow out the speakers entirely.
You completely blow out the system. Imagine if we only push the, say, technological advancement fader up to 11,
Okay.
but we leave the philosophical ethics fader at 0, or the resource distribution fader at the very bottom.
The song is ruined.
Completely. The civilization experiences catastrophic feedback. And we actually saw a micro version of this during the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Right. We pushed the mass production and fossil fuel faders to the absolute maximum.
But the environmental stewardship and Liber rates faders were left totally untouched.
Exactly. And the result was massive economic growth, sure, but also smog-choked cities, exploitative labor practices, and ecological damage we are literally still paying for today.
Yeah, the feedback loop was brutal.
So to achieve a true leap, the text suggests you need to perfectly, delicately balance 18 distinct channels of human progress simultaneously. They all have to harmonize.
What's fascinating here is the deliberate use of the word leap. We really need to pause on that
Or
word.
let's do it. Why leap?
Well, a leap implies something fundamentally different from how we usually understand human history.
Like how we're taught in school.
Exactly. We are taught to view history through the lens of slow Darwinian evolution.
Incremental changes.
Right. Trial and error over millennia. A slow crawl out of the mud. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
It's messy.
Very messy. But a leap, especially when it's paired with 18 distinct navigable channels, suggests something closer to quantum mechanics.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, a quantum leap is a sudden, discrete transition from one energy state to another. There's no in-between.
Oh, wow. Okay.
By defining exactly 18 channels, the source text is aggressively suggesting that societal evolution isn't just random historical drift.
It isn't just stuff happening to us.
Exactly. It is a highly engineered, deliberate navigation.
It takes the randomness out of it completely. It says, we aren't just floating down a river on a raft. We are steering a complex vessel.
Right.
And here are the 18 specific dials on the control panel.
Let's think about what some of those other channels might actually be.
Yeah, because we have the obvious ones, right? Scientific discovery, agriculture, medical advancement.
Sure.
But to balance the board, you would also need channels dedicated to, like, meaning-making, shared mythology, or conflict resolution.
Oh, absolutely. Because if our ability to invent weapons outpaces our ability to resolve conflicts through diplomacy,
if those two channels are out of sync,
the entire mixing board catches fire.
Yes. And if you don't calibrate all 18 of those dials correctly, you don't make the leap. You fall short.
Or worse, you crash the ship right into the rocks.
Which is terrifying.
It is. The implication is that a true civilizational leap requires a level of intentional, coordinated mastery across multiple domains of human existence that we have basically never achieved before.
We can't just stumble into the future anymore.
No, we really can't.
So, if a civilization must perfectly harmonize 18 distinct channels just to survive a transition,
Yeah.
the obvious question becomes, what exactly are we transitioning into? What does the other side of that leap look like?
Well, the destination is explicitly named in the second and third documents. We are navigating toward a very specific paradigm.
Right. Quote, the road to the leap of human civilization version 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the text isolates that 3.0 marker amid all the repeating placeholder symbols.
It's like it shines a massive spotlight on that specific number.
Exactly. We have moved from the language of physical navigation like channels and leaps into the language of software, systems, and digital architecture.
And the terminology here is impossible to ignore. Version 3.0 frames human existence as a massive, complex software ecosystem.
But wait, I have to push back on the software analogy for a second.
Okay, push back.
Comparing human civilization to a software upgrade assumes there's like a centralized developer writing the code and pushing the update.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Civilization is incredibly messy. It's decentralized. It's driven by billions of competing human interests.
Thousands of cultures.
Countless factions. How can a version 3.0 be rolled out top-down without some massive authoritarian control mechanism?
Yeah, that sounds dystopian.
Totally. You can't just force 8 billion people to install a new operating system overnight. It feels too clinical for the reality of human behavior.
That is a crucial distinction. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we don't necessarily have to view version 3.0 as a top-down mandate from some central developer.
Okay. How should we view it then?
Think of it more like an emergent property.
An emergent property?
Like when the internet was created, nobody forced the globe to adopt it through a single authoritarian rule. The environment simply changed.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right? The underlying protocols of communication shifted. And eventually, the old ways of doing business or sharing news or just connecting with people simply stopped working as effectively.
Right, like sending a telegram in the age of email.
Exactly. The system upgraded itself organically because the legacy systems could no longer process the new reality.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's less about a tech billionaire hitting update and more about the environment itself demanding a new set of base protocols.
Precisely.
Which inherently implies that our current state-like everything we are living right now today is merely version 2.0.
It's a legacy system.
A legacy system. And anyone who works with software knows that legacy systems are riddled with bugs.
They are full of obsolete code.
Patches built on top of patches, inefficiencies, massive security vulnerabilities.
And the distinction between a patch and a full version upgrade is monumental.
Explain that.
Well, a patch just fixes a localized bug. It puts a Band-Aid on a leak.
Right.
But a full version upgrade, moving from 2.0 to 3.0, implies a fundamental rewrite of the foundational rules.
A total overhaul.
Yeah. It means the core architecture of the previous version is no longer capable of handling the demands of the current environment.
It's like trying to run modern artificial intelligence algorithms on a desktop computer from 1995.
Oh, a perfect analogy.
Right. You can't just patch the 1995 operating system to make it work. The hardware, the core logic, the memory allocation.
It just can't compute the new reality.
It crashes. So what are the bugs in Civilization 2.0? What are the massive system failures that require a total rewrite?
Well, we could look at the concept of the nation-state itself as a piece of legacy code.
Oh, wow. The nation-state.
Yeah. Drawing hard borders on a map worked really well for processing resources in the 18th century. But in a hyper-connected digital world where information, capital, and, frankly, ecological crises flow globally without regard for borders.
That code might be failing.
Exactly.
Or consider our baseline economic assumptions.
Like what?
The idea of infinite growth on a planet with finite resources.
Oh, absolutely.
That is a classic example of a version 2.0 protocol that mathematically cannot sustain itself indefinitely.
It was functional when the population was smaller and resources seemed boundless.
Right.
But it eventually triggers a stack overflow.
Yeah, it breaks. But discarding the old operating system of humanity entirely is a terrifying proposition.
It's incredibly daunting.
The economic models, the political structures, the ways we distribute energy, the ways we conceptualize ownership, or even basic governance.
All of that might be the legacy code.
Right. What the text is suggesting is that to survive whatever is coming, to actually make this leap, we cannot just keep patching a broken system.
We have to rewrite the root code of how humans live together on this planet.
Because when you upgrade an operating system, there are always older applications that are no longer supported.
Yeah, the backward compatibility issues.
Exactly. The things we relied on in version 2.0 might literally not function in version 3.0. We have to leave them behind.
We have to let go of systems that have defined us for centuries.
Which brings an immense amount of risk into the equation. You don't just hit update on a civilization and hope it reboots successfully without a backup.
Right. If the power grid fails, or global supply chains collapse during the reboot, billions of people suffer.
It's not just a screen freezing, it's real life.
Which is perfectly addressed by the structural format of the final two documents.
Let's talk about that.
The transition itself is heavily managed. The leap to version 3.0 isn't just one document. It is explicitly divided across the final two sources into Part 1 and Part 2.
A deliberate sequencing.
Exactly.
Now that we understand the monumental scale of upgrading to a brand new civilizational operating system, looking at how the text maps out that journey is crucial.
It is.
It's the difference between replacing a bridge while people are still driving over it.
Versus just blowing up the old bridge and hoping everyone can jump across the canyon in their cars.
Yeah, that would be a disaster.
This raises an important question. What does a phased rollout actually look like for a civilization?
Right. How do you do that?
Well, a leap of this magnitude, a full rewrite of the human operating system, cannot happen all at once. If you try to reboot a system that complex instantaneously, you get chaos.
Complete system failure.
So Part 1 must be the preparatory phase, the slow dismantling of the legacy code, the introduction and calibration of those 18 new channels we discussed.
Think about what living in Part 1 would actually feel like for you and me.
It would be rough.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel like a clean, sterile software update progress bar filling up on a screen. It would feel incredibly messy.
Uncomfortable.
Right. It would feel like a prolonged era of friction and anxiety. Old institutions would be breaking down.
The legacy code would be failing, throwing up error messages left and right.
Economic crises, political polarization, ecological instability.
Yeah, but the new version 3.0 systems wouldn't be fully online yet to replace them.
You'd be stuck in the messy middle.
You know, honestly, that sounds an awful lot like the era we are living in right now.
It really does. We are watching the 1995 computer try to load the 2026 software.
And we are experiencing the buffering wheel in real time.
Yes. It is a profound period of vulnerability. The old rules no longer apply, but the new rules haven't been fully written.
And Part 2 would be the actual irreversible activation of the version 3.0 parameters.
The moment the new bridge takes the full weight of the traffic.
Right. But amidst all this chaotic transition across all three sources, the 18 channels, Part 1 and Part 2, there's one constant.
Yes, the signature.
Despite all the cryptic, obscured placeholder symbols that make up the body of the text, every single fragment aggressively repeats the exact same two-character signature at the very end.
So what does this all mean? Let's talk about the signature.
Let's do it.
To me, it feels like a master painter leaving a small, definitive hallmark in the bottom corner of a massive abstract canvas.
I love that image.
No matter how chaotic the painting gets, that signature grounds it. It tells you who made it.
But since we agreed earlier that this leap isn't the work of one literal top-down developer,
Right.
the signature must represent something else.
Okay, what's your theory?
If this two-part transition requires absolute stability so the system doesn't crash, perhaps that relentless repeating signature at the end of each text isn't an author's vanity.
Okay.
Perhaps it represents a final, unifying human truth.
Wow. An anchor.
Exactly. A philosophical constant that we absolutely must grasp and hold on to before the two-part transition can be safely completed.
I really love that. It's like a checksum in computer science.
A checksum. Explain that for the listeners.
So, before a major file transfer or a system update is finalized, the computer runs a checksum algorithm to verify that the core data hasn't been corrupted during the transfer.
Ah, I see.
Right. That two-character signature is the checksum for human civilization. This is the core essence of who we are.
That is brilliant.
No matter how much we upgrade to 3.0, no matter how much obsolete legacy code we delete, even if we change our economic models, our technology, our very biology.
We have to ensure that specific signature remains intact at the end of the process.
Yes. Because imagine a file transfer that completes, but the data is corrupted.
Right. The image file opens, but all the colors are inverted.
Or the audio file plays, but it sounds like screeching static.
If we undergo a civilizational upgrade without that human checksum, we risk a corrupted transfer.
A completely corrupted reality.
We could end up with a highly efficient, technologically flawless society that operates perfectly on paper but lacks the very qualities that make existence worthwhile.
And what is that human checksum? I mean, what is that core essence?
The source text leaves it translated as a mere two-character signature amidst the digital noise, but the implication is vast.
Is it our capacity for profound empathy? Is it our instinct for storytelling and shared myth?
Or is it our drive to explore the unknown?
Whatever that core piece of data is, the blueprint insists we literally cannot afford to lose it during the upgrade.
Otherwise, we might build a perfectly functional version 3.0 civilization, but it would no longer be a human civilization.
Right. It would be something else entirely.
Old, mechanical.
A machine running perfectly in a void.
The signature is the guarantee of our humanity amidst the leap.
That is profound. And it perfectly ties together these incredibly sparse, glitchy documents.
It really brings it all into focus.
The noise of the placeholder text represents the chaos of the transition, the messy reality of living through part 1.
But the signal, the titles, the 18 channels, the 3.0 markers, the phase sequence, and that final signature, that is the blueprint.
It is a blueprint that demands active participation.
Yes, it is not a prediction of what will happen. It is a manual for what must happen.
And this is where we have to connect this grand, sweeping blueprint directly back to you, the listener.
Because a civilization isn't an abstract concept.
No, it's not.
It is made up of individuals living out their daily lives. Even if these minimalist sources feel cryptic or futuristic, they force a very immediate practical reflection. You have to ask yourself,
Which of those 18 navigational channels are you personally influencing?
exact.
Are you pushing up the technological innovation fader in your career?
Or the empathy and community building fader in your neighborhood.
The ecological balance fader through your daily habits?
Because you have your hand on the board, whether you realize it or not.
We've taken these fragmented sources and pulled back the layers to explore the blueprints of our future today. We've looked at the 18 distinct, highly engineered channels that must be balanced like a mixing board.
We've explored the complete rewrite of our societal operating system into Civilization version 3.0.
And we've analyzed the calculated two-part phased rollout required to get us there safely, all anchored by that singular human checksum.
Every action you take is a calibration of those channels. If we are moving toward version 3.0, the legacy code of version 2.0 is being evaluated right now by all of us.
We are deciding what gets ported over to the new system and what gets left behind in the trash bin of history.
Well said.
Which leaves me with one final thought for you to ponder as you go about your day. We've talked a lot about the bugs, the obsolete code, and the corrupted data of our current system.
Mm-hmm.
If humanity truly is currently in the messy, chaotic beta testing phase of this monumental two-part leap to version 3.0,
Which it certainly feels like.
what is the very first bug from our current civilization, from version 2.0, that you would personally want to see deleted before the system reboots entirely?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Think about that as you look at the world around you today. Is it physical weathering you're seeing, or is it a system begging for an upgrade?
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the noise, the signal, and the leap.
It's been a pleasure to navigate these concepts and look past the static with you all. Take care. Until next time, keep looking for the signal in the noise. Catch you on the next deep dive.